Hello students, welcome to our history class series. In this class, we will discuss the third major dynasty of Delhi Sultanate, the Tughlaq dynasty, which was started around 1320 till 1414 AD. The Tughlaq dynasty, basically, in the previous class, we have discussed the Khilji dynasty and the major ruling time of Alauddin Khilji. Also, we have discussed the major policies of the Alauddin Khilji as well as the tax system of Alauddin Khilji. After the death of Alauddin Khilji, the Khilji dynasty became very weak. Okay. So when Khiljis became very weak, the ministers became very powerful. And there was a minister known as Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who was the minister during the time of Khusro Khan as well as Alauddin Khilji also. So when Khusro Khan was the ruler, at that time Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq killed Khusro Khan, the last ruler of Khilji dynasty, and started Tughlaq dynasty over Delhi Sultanate. The Tughlaq was the third ruling dynasty of Delhi Sultanate, following from the Khilji dynasty. As after the decline of Khilji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty came in existence. It ruled over large part of Indian subcontinent from 1320 to 1414. The dynasty is known for its ambitious rulers, administrative reforms, and architectural contribution as well as significant political and economical appeal. Okay, as due to Khilji's policy or due to Khilji's different reforms and taxes, the people of the Delhi was very upset. They were fed up with Alauddin Khilji. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, or known as Ghazi Malik, or known as Tughlaq Ghazi, who was minister during the time of Khilji dynasty, he won the trust of Delhi peoples. Basically, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq belongs to Turkmenistan. They were the Turks who captured Delhi Sultanate or who captured Khilji dynasty. So with the support of Delhi people, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq became the next ruler of Tughlaq dynasty. So he got the throne with the help of Delhi people, as Delhi people were fed up with Khiljis or the rule of Khiljis. So let's start with the first ruler, which is Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, also known as Ghazi Malik. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Ghazi Malik, as well as he was also known as, or he is also known as Tughlaq Ghazi. He was the founder of Tughlaq dynasty. He killed Khilji's last ruler Khusro Khan and started Tughlaq dynasty over Delhi Sultanate. His ruling was started around 1320 till 1325. He was the first ruler in India who started canal system in India. So canal system was started by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq in India, and most of the canals in India were built during the time of Tughlaq dynasty. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, laterly the third ruler of Tughlaq dynasty, also built 5 new canals. During the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, canals were also built, and the Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was the first person who started building canals in India. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was originally a governor of Deepalpur under Khilji dynasty. As before ruler, he was the governor. During the time of Khilji, he rose to power after the fall of Khilji dynasty and established the Tughlaq dynasty. Clear? So we have to understand the ruling time of Tughlaq dynasty and what were the reform made by Tughlaqs between 1320 to 1414 AD. So let's start with Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who ruled over Delhi Sultanate for 5 years between 1320 to 1325. Okay. First, as I told you, he was the first ruler who started canal system in India. Also, he became ruler with the support of Delhi people, so he reduced some taxes which were imposed by Khiljis. Also, he returned the property of rich people which belongs to Delhi only, as Alauddin Khilji captured the property of rich people and basically destroyed the power of rich people of Delhi. So what he did first, he reduced the taxes which was imposed during the time of Alauddin Khilji. Also, he returned the property of Delhi's people. Some achievements. First is military campaign. He consolidated power and expanded the empire through successful military campaigns. Administrative reforms strengthened the administration by introducing new policies and reforms, as well as architectural contribution. Basically, he founded the city of Tughlakabad near Delhi and initiated several construction projects. He founded the city of Tughlakabad. The Tughlakabad, which is in Delhi near Mehroli, established by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. And also he established Chappan Fort over there and initiated several construction projects. Canal system, as I told you, the first person in India who started or who initiated the construction of a canal system for irrigation purpose, enhancing agriculture productivity. In 1325, he died under mysterious circumstances. Okay. There is a theory or there is a story in the history. Most of the historical, especially Ibn Battuta, in his book, he wrote a story related to the death of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. In 1325, Ghiyasuddin attacked on Gujarat and he captured Gujarat. His son name was Juna Khan, laterly who was known as Muhammad bin Tughlaq. As he won Gujarat, so his son Juna Khan arranged a celebration in New Delhi for the victory of his father, as his father captured Gujarat. So Juna Khan made a wooden kettle in Delhi, and he basically set his father Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq under this wooden kettle, and he started a parade by elephant near the wooden kettle. Due to the parade, the wooden kettle demolished, and under this wooden kettle, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq died. So some historical says that this was the conspiracy which was created by Juna Khan, as he wants to become the next ruler. That's why he killed his father under wooden kettle. So in 1325, under wooden kettle, he died by or he killed by his son Juna Khan under mysterious circumstances, believed to have been orchestrated by his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq, which was known as Juna Khan. So history also explained that he was killed by his son Juna Khan. His son killed him, and his son basically prepared a wooden kettle in the celebration of Gujarat victory, and he set his father or under the wooden kettle, and he died under the wooden kettle. Clear? So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq ruled over 25 years in India, and he was the only king who started canal system. Also, Tughlakabad fort was established by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He reduced some taxes as well as he returned the property of Delhi rich people. As after the death of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Juna Khan became next ruler with the name of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So we have to discuss Muhammad bin Tughlaq. History also explained that Muhammad bin Tughlaq is known as the wise fool king. In history, Muhammad bin Tughlaq is also known as wise fool king. Okay. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq, his ruling time was started around 1325 AD till 1351 AD. So he became the ruler in 1325 and he died in 1351. As I told you, he is in history, he is known as wise fool king. Why wise? As he was the most educated king belongs to the Delhi Sultanate. Why he was known as fool king? As he basically took some decisions which was not appropriate. That's why most of the historical says that wise fool king. Wise due to the education, he know approx 5 to 6 language at that time. The most educated ruler during Delhi Sultanate, and fool due to his decisions which was not appropriate for kingdom as well as for public also. So basically, there was a traveler known as Ibn Battuta. We will laterly discuss also a traveler here, Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta was a Morocco traveler who visited during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq court, and he stayed approx 12 to 15 years in Muhammad bin Tughlaq court, and he saw the complete empire of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Laterly, he wrote a book known as Rihala. So, Rihala was a book which was written by Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta was a Moroccan traveler who visited during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. As he completely saw the empire of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so in his book Rihala, he mentioned Muhammad bin Tughlaq as a wise fool king. So the wise fool king theory is mentioned in Muhammad bin Tughlaq Rihala book, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq explained why he was very wise as well as he was very fool. So here are the 4-5 points which explain his empire, his basically fool decisions as well as. So we have to discuss these points, then you will also get to know that why he was known as wise fool king. Clear? So there are some significant policies or the projects which was started by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and as these policies were not appropriate for empire, that's why he was known as fool king. The first was transfer of capital, the second was taxation policy, the third was coinage reforms, and the fourth was Khorasan expenditure. So let's discuss one by one. Transfer of capital. At that time, when Muhammad bin Tughlaq became ruler, the capital of the Tughlaq dynasty was Delhi. Clear? As they capture Alauddin Khilji, and Alauddin Khilji was the only king who attacked south, and Alauddin Khilji captured Devgiri Daulatabad. So they also got Devgiri Daulatabad through Khilji dynasty. So he shifted capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, Devgiri. Yeah, we can say from north to south. So first, that time the capital was Delhi. He shifted capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Okay, the second point is why he shifted capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. The first point is he shifted capital Delhi to Daulatabad. Second is why he shifted and why this decision was a fool decision for him. The reason for shifting capital Delhi to Daulatabad historical explain 3 to 4 reasons. The first reason is Mongols attack. Mongols was continue attacking over Delhi Sultanate. So he want to escape from the Mongols attack. That's why he want to leave Delhi and he want to shift it toward South India. One of the major reason is he wants to save himself from Mongols attack. That's why he shifted capital Delhi to Daulatabad. The second reason was, according to him, the Delhi, Daulatabad or the Devgiri was very wealthy at that time. So he want to earn more revenue due to the wealthiness of the Daulatabad. He shifted capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. And the third reason was, as his empire was extended from north to south, so it was not possible to centralize the South Empire from Delhi. So he want to completely take over the Southern Empire. That's why he shifted from North Delhi to South Delhi. Okay. Why this decision was known as the fool decision for Muhammad bin Tughlaq. As there is a 1400 kilometer distance from Delhi to Daulatabad. Capitals means all empire have to shift it towards Devgiri. So this was a transfer which took approx 1.5 months. All the handicap during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq dynasty or handicapped people of Delhi were killed by Muhammad bin Tughlaq. It is not possible to transfer these people from Delhi to Daulatabad. All the blinds were basically captured with or were pinched with the horses also. Most of the people died during the transformation, during the 1.5 months transformation, and finally he reached Daulatabad. After this cruel behavior, when he reached Devgiri or Daulatabad, after 5 years of shifting Devgiri or Daulatabad, he again shifted capital Dolatabad or Devgiri to Delhi. Yet he was not able to stay in southern India as the atmosphere of southern India was not basically enough to survive Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So first he shifted Delhi to Dolatabad, where he killed most of the handicapped people as well as most of the people died during the shifting. And after 5 years, he again shifted Dolatabad to Delhi. That's why this decision is known as the Fool decision, or due to this, he is known as Wise Fool King in Delhi Sultanate. The second is taxation policy. He introduced new tax policy in Daob region, leading to widespread agrarian distress. Means during his time, silver was the main currency. He started rupiah also, or token currency. Due to some reasons, he shifted his currency silver to copper, and he basically uh, replaced silver to copper currency, and the value of the copper currency was equals to the silver currency. Due to this, inflation was lead during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and due to inflation, he increased the tax prices, and this was also known as the fool decision for him. The taxation policy and coinage reform introduced token currency, copper and brass to replace silver coins, and he basically fixed the copper and brass currency value is equals to silver currency. The third decision was Khurasan expenditure. Basically, he planned to expand the empire into Khurasan, modern day Iraq, but expenditure never materialized due to logical and financial contrast. Clear? Okay. So he want to capture Khorasan, and he basically he sign a agreement with Persian king. He paid some amount to the Persian king in replace of some soldiers, but laterly Persian king denied to help Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and he invested lots of money over this agreement. So this Khorasan expenditure is also known as the wise fool decision of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The last decision was Diwan-e Amir Kohi. He established a agriculture department which was known as Diwan-e Amir Kohi or Amir Kohi department. The major work of this department was to improve agriculture productivity and manage the manage the unfertility and fertile land into, or converted unfertile land into fertile land. He appointed some officer who do not know or who didn't know anything about the agriculture. That's why this department was also failed. And this was also known as the wise fool decision of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Clear? So we have discussed Muhammad bin Tughlaq is known as the wise fool king. The most of the information are mentioned in Ibn Battuta Rehla book, who visited from Morocco during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He transferred capital from Delhi to Devgiri, laterly Devgiri to Delhi. That's why he is known as Fool King. He replaced silver coins into copper coins and fixed the value of silver and copper are equal. That's why inflation leads in the empire. Also, he wants to capture Khurasan, so he pays some amount to the Persian king in place of some soldiers. Laterly, after some time, the Persian king declined and his investment got waste. And laterly, when he established a Amir Koi department for agriculture, he appointed some minister who don't know anything about or who didn't know anything about this empire, the agriculture also. Then Imar Battuta was visited during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He was a Morocco traveler and he wrote a book, Rihala. And most of the information regarding Muhammad bin Tughlaq are mentioned in Rihala book. Laterly in 1351 AD, while campaigning in Sindh, he died in a battle. And after the death of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, his cousin Firoz Shah Tughlaq became the next ruler. The next ruler is Firoz Shah Tughlaq. The Firoz Shah Tughlaq was the cousin of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and his ruling time was started around 1351 to 1388. his achievement of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Some administrative reforms. He implemented some policies to stabilize the economy and administration. He reduces some tax and improve the revenue system. In taxes, he also started jizya tax over Brahmins. Jizya tax was started by Muhammad bin Qasim, but laterly Khilji expand this empire, but Khilji exclude Brahmins from jizya tax. And Firoz Shah Tughlaq was the ruler who started jizya tax over Brahman also, or who imposed jizya tax over Brahman. Public work known for extensive public work, including the construction of canal roads and towns. He established approx 300 towns in India, including Jaunpur, Fatehabad, Firozabad, Hisar, etc. Also, he constructed 5 canals in India. Clear? So, canal system build a comprehensive canal system for irrigation, enhancing agriculture productivity. Education and religious contribution. He founded several madrasas and built numerous mosques and public building as well as. Also, Diwan-e Madad Masha or Diwan-e Khairat was also started by Firoz Shah Tughlaq to help the Muslim women. Okay, so let's understand his department. He started Diwan-e Khairat, Diwan-e Bandgan, and Diwan-e Amir Koi was further started by him after some reforms. At Diwan-e Amir Koi was started by his cousin Muhammad bin Tughlaq. This department was failed due to his employees, so he again started Diwan-e Amir Koi with some reforms. So what was Diwan-e Khairat? Khairat means charity. He started a department known as Diwan-e Khairat Department, which was a charity department which provide aid to the poor and destitute, as well as this department was also helped women's or poor women's, widows, and marriage for girls, Muslim girls. Clear? So Diwan-e Khairat, Khairat means charity. Next, Diwan-e Bandgan. According to some historicals, during the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, there were total 1,80,000 slaves during the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. So in the empire of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, there was 1,80,000 slaves. So to take care or to providing the training of the slaves, he established a department known as Diwan-e Bandgan. So it was a department for the welfare of the slaves. He providing them with training and employments opportunities as well as. So to take care of 1,80,000 slaves, he started a department known as Diwan-e Bandgan department. Also, Diwan-e Amir ko we recently discussed. Department, it was an agriculture department aimed to improving farming technologies as and increasing the productivities. Architecture contribution, he built the city of Firozabad. Firoz Shah Kotla Force constructed several mosques and monuments in Delhi, as well as he established Hisar, Jaunpur, as well as Firozabad also. Also, he was the ruler who established 5 major canals, or during the time of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, jizya tax was imposed over Muslims. There was 2 edicts of Ashoka. One is known as Topra edicts and second is known as Meerut edicts. These were 2 pillar edicts which was established by Ashoka. One Topra edict was established in Haryana and Meerut edict was established in UP. So he also shifted Topra and Meerut pillar edict to the Delhi. So presently Topra pillar edicts and Meerut pillar edicts are in Delhi now, and they both are shifted by Firoz Shah Tughlaq from Topra and Meerut. He also wrote a book or his biography known as Fatwa-e Firoz Shahi. So Fatwa-e Firoz Shahi was the biography of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He also started some coppers and silver coins which were known as Adha and Vik. So Adha and Vik was the coin like Jeetal and Taka. Same Adha and Vik was started by Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Clear? Also, he reduced the taxes and he started four types of taxes: Kharaj, Khams, Jizya, or Zakat. So during his time, there were four types of tax. One was Kharaj tax, second was Khams tax, third was Jizya tax, and fourth was Zakat tax. And in 1388, he died basically in Delhi. And he was the last powerful ruler of Delhi Sultanate or Tughlaq dynasty. So after the death of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, the Tughlaq dynasty started decline. Clear? Okay. So the successor of Firoz Shah Tughlaq were very weak and they were unable to maintain control over the empire. The empire faced numerous internal revolt and challenge from Riesling. Also, after the death of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the next ruler was Nasiruddin, and during the time of Nasiruddin, in 1398, Temurlang invades India and he basically completely destroyed the Tughlaq dynasty and Delhi Sultanate. Clear? So now we have to understand the Temur invasion over India. Temur was also known as Temurlang, who was a Turco-Mongol conqueror and founder of the Timur Empire in Persian and Central Asia. So he belongs to the Mongolia tribe, and he had also a relation with Turkish. So laterly, the Mughals, which were came in India and ruled in India, was the next generation of Temur. So he started invading India in 1398 and 1399 AD. And when he attacked in India, that time Tughlaq dynasty was ruling over and India. And that time the major ruler of Tughlaq dynasty was Nasiruddin. So he attacked India in 1398 during Tughlaq dynasty. And who was the ruler of Tughlaq dynasty that time? Nasiruddin was the ruler of Tughlaq dynasty, and he is one of the most significant and devastating events in history of medieval India. As for 5 years, he stayed India in for 5 years, and he completely destroyed the empire of India. He robbed India. He killed the people of Delhi. He also killed animals, elephant, and horses as well as. So Temur aimed to expand his empire and he saw the wealth of Indian subcontinent as an attractive target. That's why he attacked in India. The political instability and weakening of Delhi Sultanate under the Tughlaq dynasty presented a perfect opportunity for the invasion. Pretext for invasion: Temur claimed that his invasion was a jihad, holy war against the infidels and a mission to spread Islam. The major intention of Temur was to capture the wealth of India as well as to basically spread the Islamic religion in India. Through the primary motive was the plunder and wealth of India. As the primary motive of the Temur was to plunder and to control to basically rob the wealth of India, to stole the wealth of India. And the second reason was that he want to spread Islamic religion in India. How he invades India and what was his initial movement. Temur crossed the Indus River at Attock. Attock is now a district of Pakistan in September 1398. So his invasion was started around 1398 and he was coming towards the Central Asia. That's why he first captured Pakistan region and he crossed Indus River with a large and well equipped army. He advanced through Punjab, sacking cities like Tolamba and Bhatner. So he captured Bhatner, Tolamba, Punjab. He crossed Indus River and also captured Pakistan as well as. Siege of Delhi: the Sultan of Delhi, Nasiruddin Muhammad Tughlaq, as I told you that time the ruler of Tughlaq dynasty was Nasiruddin Muhammad. He tried to defeat the city but was defeated in the Battle of Delhi in December 1398. There was a minister known as Khizr Khan. Khizr Khan was the minister of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. As in this battle, Khizr Khan supported Temurlang. Due to the Khizr Khan, the Muhammad bin Tughlaq lost this battle as Khizr Khan was the main military commander of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So, with the support of Khizr Khan, Temurlang won this battle and Temurlang defeated Nasiruddin Muhammad. Temur force entered Delhi and the city was subjected to widespread massacre, plunders, and destruction. Historical account mention mass killing and enslavement of thousands of people. He also killed most of the animals of India. Aftermath of the siege, the sacking of Delhi left the city in ruins. The rich culture and architecture heritage of Delhi suffered greatly, and the city took years to recover from the devastation which was done by Temur. Temur departure returned to Samarkand after plundering Delhi. Temur left India in 1399, taking with him immense wealth and numerous captives, including artisans, craftsmen, to enhance his capital, Samarkand. The invasion weakened the already declined Delhi Sultanate, leading to further political instability and paving the way for the establishment of regional kingdoms as well as. And what were the major impact of Temurlang invasion? The invasion caused massive economic damage as he robbed India. He destroyed many monuments as well as he killed animal and people also, with looted wealth and destroyed infrastructure. Demographic impact: the massacres and enslavement significantly reduced the population in and around Delhi. According to some historicals, he reduced at least 30% population of Delhi in 1 year only. So he killed lots of people in Delhi. Many cultural artifacts and architectural structure were destroyed or damaged by Temurlang. When he returned to India, again Nasiruddin tried to become a ruler and he ruled over 1414. He completely basically left India in 1403. And when he left India in 1403, Nasiruddin again started his empire and ruled till 1414. In 1414, Nasiruddin minister Khizr Khan this time attacked on Nasiruddin. Khizr Khan killed Nasiruddin in 1414 and Khizr Khan captured Delhi Sultanate and started Sayyid dynasty over Tughlaq dynasty. So Nasiruddin first was defeated by Temurlang with the help of Khizr Khan. Temurlang with the help of Khizr Khan defeated Nasiruddin and he basically robbed and killed most of the soldiers of the Nasiruddin. Nasiruddin again tried to become the ruler and he ruled till 1403 to 1414. But laterly again Khizr Khan attacked on Nasiruddin and he killed Nasiruddin or started Sayyid dynasty over Delhi Sultanate. So this was the complete Tughlaq dynasty we have discussed. Let's quick revise the session. In this class, we have discussed that Tughlaq became ruler after decline of Khilji dynasty. The founder of Tughlaq dynasty was Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, also known as Ghazi Malik or Tughlaq Ghazi. He was the minister during the time of Khiljis, and when Khiljis became weak, he killed Khilji and started Tughlaq dynasty. He was the honorary ruler who started canal system in India as well as established Tughlaqabad fort in India. He was died in 1325 under wooden castle, which was basically a conspiracy by his son Juna Khan. Later, Juna Khan became ruler with the name of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, and he was also known as Wise Fool King. His account is mentioned or about the source of information of Muhammad bin Tughlaq is Rehla book, which was written by Moroccan traveler Ibn Battuta, who visited during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And he also said that Muhammad bin Tughlaq was a educated as well as fool king due to his some policies and project. One of the major event which was happening during the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq was transfer of capital, and he shifted capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Coinage reforms: he converted silver coin into copper coin and fixed the value both silver and copper equal. Khorasan expenditure as well as Amir Kohi department. In 1351 AD, he died in Sindh. Next, after death of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq became next ruler. Firoz Shah Tughlaq expanded the canal system and he established approx 300 cities in India, including Firozabad, Fatehabad, Hisar, and Jaunpur. He started Diwan-e-Khairat for charity, Bandagan for slaves, and Amir Koya for agriculture. In 1388, he died, and after his death, the Tughlaq dynasty became very weak, and Nasiruddin became the next ruler. And during the time of Nasiruddin in 1398 AD, Temur Lung, who was a Turkish Mongol attack over India and he robbed India. Laterly, Sayyid dynasty overthrew Tughlaq dynasty. So this was the complete topic of Tughlaq dynasty we have discussed. I hope you understand this session. Thank you.